Welcome to the Recovery Lab and our inaugural presentation. This is an exciting time. My name is Matt Uram. I'm Executive Director of Serenity Farms, Inc., and I'm here with my partner in crime, Julio Sanchez, the man, the myth, the legend. We want to start this podcast out telling you a little bit about why we're here, why we do what we do, and why we are simply on fire. And that's not because of anything I've done other than bringing in the right people, giving them ownership, and letting them run with this organization. The reason I do what I do is because I lost my twin brother 10 years ago to alcoholism. I have a ton of guilt and maybe even a little PTSD by the way I treated him, because I had nothing in my toolbox to make me understand what the addict was going through. My advice to him every time he came out of a rehab was, don't fucking drink and get a job. That's not good enough. I failed him, but I will not fail you. I think the one breakthrough that we've had at Serenity Farms is workforce investment. Prior to our existence, prior to the opioid trust, the success rate was 8 to 10%. And it was based largely because you had two things you had to do: abstinence and go to meetings. I'm sorry, those are both high priority initiatives, but it's a lot more than that to get an addict on the path to sustainability and freedom. I'm going to let Julio let you know what he's all about and what got him here. He's got a great story. I do not consider Julio just an employee of Serenity Farms. I consider him a very, very good friend. Julio, run with it.
Yes, how you doing? First off, Matt, and that's what this podcast is about. You know, how you just mentioned your brother and how you view things, before you got a good understanding of what people are going through. And that's what this podcast is for. So
Amen.
People that don't really understand this and are very, how would I put that? They could beat people up in their recovery, not understanding what the person is going through.
Absolutely.
And, it does affect the person and actually could drive a person more into addiction and alcoholism. And we just trying to open up some people's
I got to give the reminder as you're speaking. Someone in the throes of addiction, out of addiction, in recovery, in pre-addiction, they are some of the smartest people we have in our midst. They are creative. Yes. They are intelligent. The problem is their minds see more than the average person, and they have to digest that all. There's no quiet time. There's no slow time. An addict's brain is continuously turning. It's learning, but it's looking for ways to deal with what it sees and it comprehends in the world around it. There really, really are great people we need to tap into. When I think about the doctors, the lawyers, the construction people, the engineers we've lost to addiction, it's scary. It's scary. And now we're losing people to fentanyl that aren't even in the throes of addiction. We're losing our best people. Julio, back to you, bro.
Yes, and one of them people was me. Today, April 12th, I celebrated 5 years, and that has been like a blessing in my life. And
love it, bro.
It's amazing. That's the furthest I've ever been in my recovery. And to have met Matt Uram at the perfect time in my life. I'm 48 years old, and I wanted to bring more exposure.
I'm 32.
Wait till you get my age.
Oh, I love it.
So, so here at Serenity Farms, what has been built right now is we have a meeting space that can fit up to 150 people. And in that meeting space, we have 10 recovery groups. We have NA, CA. We also
AA.
AA is on its way.
How about MS? We got that
We got
MS.
the MS group,
Society.
MS support
Charles
group.
Levers.
Yes.
Shout out to Charles Levers.
Extraordinary man, very gifted, and he has so much knowledge on this. And he's a blessing because my sister has just been diagnosed last year with MS, and
God bless her.
she's in a very dark place. So she will be attending these support
bless her.
groups.
Let's talk a little about what Legacy's doing. How about Legacy? Folks, I want to make sure you see this picture. So July 1st of last year, this did not exist. We kicked a rogue group to the curb, and we took over building the meeting room. I did the meeting room that holds 157 people. I did the build-out design on that in less than 1 month. And I can thank the Waller Corporation for their help with that. Well, we got good people around us. Again, I'm going to constantly say, this ain't about me, but it's about the people I brought to the table. Then we turned around and we did the podcast room. The podcast room was done again in 1 month. This is our inaugural podcast event. Downstairs, we've got city T-shirts. The T-shirt business is playing off the charts. The growth is substantial. It's exponential. Now, and I want people to know, nobody's going to beat our price on T-shirts. Nobody's going to beat our design ability, thanks to a gentleman named Anthony Lynch, who is a new member of the team, but he is bringing it home for recovery in Washington County. And his design ability is absolutely amazing. We're going to start putting those designs online that we've done so that you can get a flavor of what we're doing. Our prices are better than any other place in town when it comes to T-shirts. And every dime goes to recovery. Every dime. Another thing that we've got going on that is just plain awesome is our fiber optics training class. We're graduating our 4th class in the middle of May. 10 people. Every 10 in this group's from the city mission. When they leave the fiber optics class, and we are in partnership with Gismondi, Catholic Charities Organization, when they graduate from this program, they're going to get a job between $18 and $22 an hour. They'll get $50 per certificate. They've already been paid for 1 certificate. They're testing for another one very shortly. But this is what we do. We look at 2 different things when it comes to recovery. A, meetings and abstinence is not enough. You need a new skill. You need to live a purposeful, routine life. We offer that. But also, it's the economic development part of it. Look, I pay taxes. Julio pays taxes. We need more people coming off the dole and paying into the system versus taking away from it. And it's employment and workforce initiatives that will create that environment. Number 2, we have to find a way to keep these trained people in Washington County. Because again, it's our smartest minds, it's our most creative minds that we're resurrecting and bringing back to live that purposeful life. And a purposeful life will give you such freedom in your brain. You will realize why you went through what you went through. You will realize how you've gotten to the promised land. And your life has changed for the community around you, for your family, and for yourself. Julio, take it away with the other things we're doing right now. Really want to hit Legacy Church a little harder.
Oh, Legacy Church International would be my first church that I have ever had an encounter with Jesus Christ. I'm going to say Jesus
JC.
Christ. JC, the man. Yeah, it started about 2015. I was living in the projects. Legacy Church was right across the street at the Lemoyne Center. I would hear Pastor Whitlock preaching, and I would be in the kitchen high. You know, that's when I was on fentanyl, heroin, and every
You did
Sunday.
the smorgasbord.
Yeah.
It's all right. You're out. You're free, bro.
Yeah. I would listen to him from the inside the house. Then I would cracked the window another Sunday. Another Sunday came. I was sitting outside because they would have the back door open and I could hear it clearly. I was literally right across the street. And I built up the courage to walk into Legacy Church.
Huge.
And they did not pull me out. They accepted me as who I am, what I was doing.
Active in your addiction.
In active addiction. I would set up chairs. Like every week I was there, I was setting up chairs. I've gotten clean there. I've relapsed. And they never pushed me away. Never pushed me away.
How important is it finding two things I want you to opine on? How important was God coming into your life? And number two, how important also is adding to your life, living a purposeful life with your ability to manipulate AI, your ability. We're working on storage homes right now, storage container homes. Julio sent me stuff last night. It's amazing how this guy can do R&D like nobody I've seen before. But I'm not shocked because, again, these are our smartest minds. But Julio, reflect on the importance of adding those two elements to your life and how it's kept you from relapse.
Yes, first of all, God is my foundation. And although I have strayed away at times, it's still stuck in me. That, I got a caring God that will bring me through any situation. Sometimes, like you said, you got to embrace the suck. Before I didn't want to embrace the suck. I wanted to destroy myself in the suck.
Amen.
And
embrace the suck is a great term. Everybody think about it, how it works in your life in a cathartic way, because if you embrace the hard times, those good times feel so much better.
I appreciate the pain in my life today.
You earned it.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that when I know I have made it through these situations without falling back into my old behaviors and habits, that's where the joy comes in.
Love it. Oh, Lord.
And
that's
I
beautiful.
tell you, man, it's the most amazing feeling, man, when I go to bed, and I tell my wife this every night, man. When I turn over on my belly and I put my arms up, man, that's the most relaxing time of the day. And I get to enjoy that maybe 60 seconds, a minute, because I fall asleep fast.
I wish I did. That's a blessing. That's one of those blessings.
I'm tired, man. I
Well,
used
you
to
work
run
your
all
butt
day,
off.
all night, man, and
You're a
I had to
maniac.
listen to people when they said, yo, go to sleep, and I would run on no sleep, and my days would be more tough on me.
Well, you hit
on
something.
my mental.
Right there, you just hit something. You carry the weight for a lot of people. I watch you every day. You take their burdens and you put them on your shoulders. How do you balance that?
Oh, man. I tell you, every day's a struggle. Today's a struggle. I just know things would work out. And whatever doesn't work out, that's just how it is.
How do you balance out your own issues with all the people that put theirs on you? Because, dude,
well,
I see you walking. I see
I-
you walking. There's the parable about walking in the sand and only seeing one pair of shoes because Jesus is carrying you. But you carry a lot of people through that sand. You really do.
Yeah.
How do you do
and
it?
Family. I pray to God, When I wake up, I tell him, please make this day not a stressful day. Please give me the strength to just pull through this day without doing something wrong.
I think it's
and guiding people in the right way.
I love that. I think it's important that we make sure people understand we're not enablers when we say we carry people. We make them embrace their suck as well, but we try to put them on a path. Here at the Recovery Lab, you're going to often hear me talk about routining your life. You're going to often hear me about embracing the suck, but you're also going to hear me talk about how you have to live a purposeful life. And you have to find meaning and direction in what you're doing in this world. Or when you wake up in the morning, like Julio just said, it just seems like you're entering another crazy existence. They're going to be lessons that we hope to teach you. One thing, though, I want everybody to know is we're not enablers. We will carry you, but you will make the journey on your own. We do not believe in that, but we believe in empowering people with options. I think another reason why that success rate of 8 to 10%, just think about that. A success rate of 8 to 10%. If you owned a business and you went to the bank and said, well, we're successful 8% of the time. Well, guess what? You're not getting squat. They're gonna come back whenever you're actually successful. The reason it's 8 to 10% is multifaceted. Again, in the past, you relied only on meetings and abstinence. We know now that you need a purposeful life. You need to learn a new skill so you don't go backwards and do the same job you did in the past. But we've also learned you got to occupy that brain. You got to keep those idle hands full. One of the things as we talk about what separates pre-opioid settlement money and post-opioid settlement money is the idea of we give you options. It's not cookie cutter where everybody's funneled into one position. How do people have to have options for their recovery. You can't just say, well, you're going to do this, then you're going to do this, and then you're not changing anything in your life for 2 years. Anybody got 2 years they can sit around and do nothing? I don't think so. So it's about having options. Some people will choose a path to live at the city mission for 2 years if they possibly can, not grow themselves as an individual, and try to do it after the 2 years. You can do that. That is one of the options. But what we want to do is provide you with option number 2, option number 3, option number 4. You decide what door you walk through, because everything in recovery has to be individual. Groupthink will not work. If you've got an addict that's been putting a needle in their arm at age 22 because they want to party and be cool around their friends, that is totally different from the senior citizen that's become an addict because he didn't dose his medicine the proper way, or he's lonely and he's drinking now, or she's drinking now because they're no longer working and they don't live that purposeful life anymore. If you put those two together in a recovery plan, one of them has to fail. They can't be on the same path. This needs to be individualized moving forward, and Serenity Farms is the spearhead of individualized development of future lives. I guess that's the best way I can put that.
Yeah,
Julio, thoughts?
And I love what you said about the city mission and how each recovery is individualized with the person.
Amen.
And so that there are people that are just not gonna get it one way. So I got clean at the city mission. I went to rehab. Altogether, I probably spent about 3.5 years in and out of the city mission. They helped build my foundation also.
I love it. I got a lot of respect for the mission.
Yeah, I
bro.
love the city mission, man.
Definitely. Can I say something about the mission?
Yeah.
Now, you can't judge the mission as you would look at, they have 80 people there right now. We're working with 15 to 20 at any given time. City mission's got to have their own rules. They have to have different rules than we have because they're herding cats every day with 80 people. So, I think that that's an important distinction to make. And again, we all have our lane in recovery, and their lane is awesome. Yeah. But I pretty much love our lane as well, Julio.
Yeah,
Continue, my
so,
friend.
when people go through the city mission and on their next steps towards being, citizens, people in the community, they could come to us.
Amen.
For work, we could help them with, looking for jobs, job placement, housing, and they continue their meetings here. And they also could come in here, at some point in time. This right here will be a platform for the recovering addicts.
Yeah, we want,
and also
we want
the
this
addicts
to be
who
This
still.
is a training room. This basically, it's a podcast room, but it's a training room. So right now, we got trainings in T-shirt design manufacturing. We've got the fiber optics training. We've got Oculus we're going to be training on starting next week. Oculus. It's a great weapon against PTSD. It's a great weapon against depression, and it's positive for recovery. Julio, some of the things, and we're going to be talking about some sensitive, edgy issues as this podcast goes on. We're going to hit ibogaine next week. We're going to hit medical marijuana next week. We do not emphasize either of those therapies, but we give you the facts on them so that you can make an educated decision. Ketamine therapy is a big one. You know my thoughts on Matt. I am not a big fan of replacing heroin with, Subjugate, and definitely not methadone. You go on methadone, you're gonna have worse withdrawal than you would with heroin.
And that's why I love this, because I am a product of Suboxone and Sublocade. It got me clean, But what we're trying to do is preserve life. So preserve life means don't stick a needle with chemicals in it into your system that could kill you.
It would be a very good idea.
If Suboxone works for you, don't abuse it. We want people to do things the correct way. We want to encourage people to do things exactly how it's supposed to be.
What I want to do is free the mind.
Today's Recovery Lab sponsor, Emmerich Security Systems. Emmerich takes pride in delivering professional, low-voltage security solutions you can count on. We serve homeowners and businesses who want the job done right the first time. 412-500-2476.
Welcome back to the Recovery Lab. Today joining us is the Brian Gorman, Executive Director of Summit Law, Kyle Duff, who is Project Coordinator for Washington County's Pardon Project. Now today we've got an expungement program going on. I'm going to let Brian talk and give us a brief introduction to what's going on in Serenity Farms today, and then we're going to do a little banter about what we can do in getting people back into the workforce, living a purposeful life, and erasing mistakes from the past because they're moving forward in that positive direction to a purposeful life. Brian, welcome. Thanks for what you do. Please tell us what's going on in the building today.
Sure. Today's the Clean Slate Day, Clean Slate and Pardon Day. So we had over 70 Washington County residents who registered to meet with volunteers, mostly attorneys, but volunteers to review their criminal records, their past criminal records, and their driver's license status. Some are doing either or both. And if they're eligible, they are having pardon applications submitted to pardon their past criminal records. So we're also going to be expunging and sealing criminal records in the local court for those who are eligible. And then we have a couple of attorneys who are talking with people about restoring their driver's licenses.
I'll tell you what, one thing I'm wondering is, A, can I go out and commit some crimes right now since I know that I can get them expunged? I mean, I'm just looking to see if I can get a leg up on some things here. Is that a bad way to look at it?
That's a bad way to look at it. You'd better be
suggested.
If you want our help, you'd better be found not guilty, or it had better had happened not now, but years ago.
Well, I'm thinking about next week, so but I digress. And how lucky we'd have Kyle here today when Kyle's working with the Pardon Project in Washington County. Kyle, I want you to talk about how you got to where you are. You are, without a doubt, one of our finest examples of what to do in recovery, in leading, in building new skills, and moving on to that best life, and moving on to that purposeful life. Kyle, give me 2 minutes on you.
That's a lot to summarize. 7 years or 37 years to summarize in 2 minutes. So I am someone in long-term recovery. For me, that means I haven't used a mood or mind-altering substance in nearly 7 years. Next month, it'll be 7 years.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Ton of credit on that.
Thank you. I had a lot of help. So it's not all me. I had a lot of help. A lot of people gave me opportunities, and I used those opportunities to the best of my ability. I really dove into a 12-step recovery fellowship. I went to get my certified recovery specialist, a certification that you get from Pennsylvania Certification Board. And actually in that training is where I met a gentleman that kind of connected Brian with me and gave me this opportunity at Summit Legal Aid. Back then, we were still Southwestern Pennsylvania Legal Aid. And then a few years back, we merged with, now we're 10 counties.
Wow, unbelievable. Fantastic. Kyle, when you look at the different things, and, I think one of the first things I want to ask is, Brian, what motivates you to do this on a yearly basis?
Well, I've been practicing law 27 years and had got into the practice of law, and I've been either a public defender or a legal aid lawyer my whole career, was to help people who weren't as fortunate as I am, who maybe the road diverged and I got lucky and went one way and they went another, and I could have easily gone that way. So I felt like that's what's motivated me. Having been a public defender and legal aid lawyer since '99, that was right at the outset of the opiate crisis. I guess maybe stage one of it, but my whole career has been defined by drug and alcohol addiction and recovery. I've been past member of drug court. I've been representing people who are either in dependence or recovery my whole career. And it's just been, through all of that, very meaningful and important and central to my work.
Well, Brian, that's how you and I met. And I love that the idea that we could go down different paths. We have choices in life, what path we can go. Brian represented my twin brother probably 15, 20 years ago, and unfortunately I lost him to alcoholism in 2015, and it's why I do what I do now, because if you ever heard me talk about it, I really screwed the ball on that one. And I have a lot of guilt from it, and this is my way of giving back because I know what I should have done then, and it is that meetings, abstinence, it's not enough. You must live a purposeful life.
Well, but Matt, you're saying something that is very important about drug and alcohol dependence, and that is it affects family too. Constantly dealing with parents, siblings, spouses, children, and it can be permanent effects. It can be years long effects on relationships and on lives, and in our case, getting to kind of the nitty gritty, employment, housing, those sorts of things too. So that's, those are the reasons that we do this.
And we, it was a 15-year struggle with my brother, and I mean, it was tough. We had to put him in jail. It was tough to do some of the things we had to do, but the problem is my advice was always quit drinking, get a job. That's the best help I offered him, and that's just not enough. And it weighs on me.
What I hear from families all the time is I wish you knew them when they weren't in this state. And particularly with your brother, he was a gentleman. He was civil all the time, very polite.
Way more accomplished academically than me. I mean, he was a superstar with Mellon Bank. He was a superstar with Katz Business School, W&J graduate. It took me 5.5 years to get out of Ohio University, and we won't talk about what I was doing then, so we'll just keep moving forward with that. But you know what? How do you balance public safety concerns with giving people a second chance?
Well, the legislature and executive branch have done a lot of that work for us. The legislature, Senator Bartolotta was here. She was one of the co-sponsors of the Clean Slate Act. They have fashioned the law in a way so that it is responsibly done. In order to have your record, just as a couple examples, expunged, you have to have not been convicted of the charges. To have your record sealed, it has to be at least minimum of 7 years from misdemeanor convictions, minimum of 10 years from felony convictions. High-level felonies aren't eligible to be sealed.
They're not going to get
In order to apply for a pardon, you have to be off supervision for 3 years. And that doesn't guarantee you're going to get the pardon. That's just so you can apply. The Board of Pardons requires 3 out of 5 votes to give you a pardon, plus the governor to grant you a pardon. So there are a lot of safeguards to make sure that those whose records are being removed are those who are best eligible and most qualified.
I love it. As a defendant, as somebody that has been through the legal system, how bad does that hurt your future when you have these crimes? How much does it weigh on you financially, guilt-wise, and trying to get a job and do different things? Give us a little background.
That is, I laugh not because it's funny, because I have been passed over for multiple positions that I was overqualified for due to my criminal background. And it is a regular occurrence. I meet hundreds, thousands and thousands of people who cannot find opportunities. And really, like, the way that the economy is, the way that the world is like almost everyone I know has 2 jobs at this point in time.
Amen.
And you know, to be feeling this constantly, like you're being constantly punished and constantly held back, like you've served your time, you did your sentence, you paid your fines, you completed everything that was suggested or even court ordered of you, and you still aren't, you're still being held back from your full potential. It's always a financial, it's either a financial thing or, you know, a driver's license thing, and they kind of coincide with one another.
So Kyle, I think what I'm curious about is, how do you go to that next step? You've got therapy like you have here. You know, there's that stigma that I think you carry forever. There's always that guy that was your neighbor. Oh, you know what he did 10 years ago. So you've got that element of it that's always, how do you stop the dominoes?
That's a tough question. I think that when we help others, we kind of burn down that wall, that stigma wall. It's always going to be there. It's never ever going to go away. For me personally, I kind of use it as motivation.
Amen.
To help more to show people
This is who you are now. Look where you were.
Yeah, look who I was. I'm not defined by my past. That's not even, I don't even know that man anymore. I would never recognize him, you know, 7 years ago, even 10 years ago.
Well, you know, and I think another thing, I think one of our jobs as a recovery lab is to make people in recovery more palatable, make this more accepting, show them the great things that people are doing. People have to understand, people that fall into addiction are some of the smartest people, the most creative people we have in our environment. Their minds work so fast. Their minds are so creative. But that's half the reason they get into addiction. They see things that other people don't see. And that really causes a lot of problems for people, because there's an emotional component to that. It's not empathy, but it's kind of like empathy. You're feeling feelings other people may not feel. But please continue.
Yeah, I think a lot. The stigma is, I try to be a voice of reason. I try to carry myself at all times as if somebody's watching, because you never know who might be. And I also say, I say this pretty often, especially in my 12-step recovery fellowship, like, I don't have any anonymity. I'll break it. I recover loudly for the people that never get a chance to, for the people that we've lost that never had an opportunity. I hope that my voice or my experience or my position that gives somebody else courage, or just hope. I mean, hope's like one of the most powerful things that we have to offer.
Absolutely.
And a good friend of mine says that, like, you know, hope is kind of contagious. You know, we can share it with others. It's like a spiritual principle that we can give away, like almost like a form of currency. And so if I can like instill hope in another person, another human being, of like,
And you wake up their self-awareness.
exactly. And
I
like,
love that.
I share that a lot about, you know, seeing the fire come back in somebody else's eyes of like, hey, like,
So that 1 inch of confidence can give you a mile
like,
of benefit.
And that's something that I always try to talk to people about, is like, how did you get where you're at? You know, I am no different, no better, no worse than anybody else. You know, I have an extensive criminal background. I just got my driver's license back after 11 years.
And you did not drive any time where you didn't have that driver.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Stick with it. I love it. I love it. All right, tell me something. What types of convictions, what types of records are eligible for expungement? Let me say one other thing when we're talking about records. In the employment side, the workforce side, I can get a guy that committed murder, a job before somebody that had fraud and theft. Is that true?
Well, it could be.
It's a little flippant. It's a little flippant, but my point is theft and fraud are your toughest.
Those are toughest because if you're in a position where you're handling any money, then an employer may not be able to take the risk, whether it's just in terms of best business practices or insurance or bonding or something like that, that they can hire you. I mean, I've had somebody who didn't pay for a cab and pled to a petty theft related because they didn't pay for a cab and they couldn't get a job at a restaurant because they might be handling money. So it can be that basic. But what is eligible for?
Let me do say one thing because I don't want to discourage people. It's not that you'll never get a job. We have to find a job where you're not handling money. We have to find that job where you use your transferable skills from the past with the recognition of what you did and you move forward in a different type of employment. I digress. Please.
Yeah, to get your record sealed under the Clean Slate Act, first of all, it has to be years since the convictions. Most misdemeanors are eligible to be sealed after 7+ years, depending on the case. Low-level felonies, that can include drug felonies, and felony 3s, which are the low-level felonies. And those are your theft related, the non-violent related, your fraud, forgery, theft types. They can be sealed, but it has to be after 10+ years. Whoa. If it's a felony. But you can apply for a pardon from any prior conviction as long as you're no longer on supervision or parole, probation or parole. And it is strongly recommended by the Board of Pardons that you're off of supervision for at least 3 years before you apply. So you do have to have a little bit of space in between the criminal justice system to get your record cleared. But it does happen, and it can happen, and it happens regularly. We see it all the time.
Is that a long process?
The petitioning in the local courts is a weeks or months long process, not particularly long. The Board of Pardons process is long. For even short expedited pardons can take a couple of years, but it can take several years more than that. There's a constant effort on, Kyle and I are involved with it, by the statewide pardon project to get them to beef up the Board of Pardons staff so that they can handle all the incoming applications on a more expeditious basis, and then they can speed up the process.
Those aren't siloed. Those are the pardons that could be from any crime. When you're doing this process, or is that a siloed process?
It could be from any crime, but obviously the longer it's been, and also the other factor is how serious is the crime. If it's been longer and/or the crime is less serious, your chances are better.
Okay, but you're all in the same cauldron.
You are, yeah. And you see people with serious felonies that get pardons, but those are people it's been 20, 30, 40 years. In those cases. But if you're talking 5 or 10 years, you're talking about DUIs,
right,
possession, low-level thefts,
right,
those sorts of things.
And I think in summing up, one of the things that I'm pulling from today is the fact that the state has done such a good job at structuring this through Camera Bartolotta, through the Pardon Board. This is not like we're giving people a free hall pass. They've earned this, but it's structured, and there's a commitment you have to follow through with, and the state follows through with their commitment. You're not just getting a free ride. You have to follow under these certain stipulations if you're going to take advantage of this program.
And it's one of the things, we talk about all the division, it's one of these things that has high level of bipartisan support.
I love it.
Republicans and Democrats across the board are supportive of it. I can't say 100%, but it's a strong majority on both sides.
Well, let's get a little punitive on the taxpayer side of it. The more people we get back mainstream, working a job, paying their taxes, adding to the community instead of taking it away, our lives do get better. Now, I always say once a price goes up, it never goes back down, but maybe it'll keep the prices from continuing to escalate. which is still a great thing.
Yeah,
Please.
when you remove someone's criminal background, their record, they automatically have a better opportunity, a better chance of getting a higher level, more paying job. The more you make, the more you spend, the more taxes you pay, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's kind of like
100%. And I
common
think that
sense.
is a big factor that goes into it. Well, Julio, we're having a great start today. This is going to be an outstanding podcast.
it.
But, folks, we want your input. Please, our email address is info@serenityfarmsinc.org. Please give us feedback. Tell us what you want to hear. We want you to have ownership to the processes we have in this building. Julio, it's amazing where we've taken this, and we're not even at the year mark. We went from having, when that ill-fated group was kicked to the curb downstairs, they were bringing in 100, 150 a week. We're bringing in 600 to 650 people through this week, through all the programmings and all the trainings. That is recovery. And I got to thank the people in recovery for making this building what it's turned out to be. And Julio, I give you, so much credit. You're not getting a raise. But I'll give you but I'll give you so much. Yeah, he wants that car. I love it. But I cannot express in words what I have seen from Julio Sanchez and how proud I am of him, and his wife Heather, and all the people I have on this team. And slowly we're going to be introducing all our partners, because it ain't me. It's a little me. No, I'm joking. But it's not me. It's the people I brought into this building.
You formed a good thing.
I
brother.
do have
You
a
formed good
vision,
thing.
and I
vision, man.
I'll take an attaboy on my vision, because I put a lot of effort into it. But my vision's shit if I don't have the right people to do it, and I got the right people right now. Julio, let's wrap this one up, because we got to get back to work, my friend. We got a lot of people to help today.
Yes.
This is the Recovery Lab. This is where you're going to learn your best options in front of you, and we will help you solidify those options. We won't do it for you. Won't do it for you. We've had to kick people to the curb, and we'll do it again, because it's about the environment. It's about a seriousness. We need you to be as serious about your recovery as we are in providing you the services you need to live that best life, and we're going to help you get there. Julio, sum it up for me, bro.
Yeah, like you said, we already know a lot about manipulation. I've been manipulated. I was a manipulator. And you got to want this for yourself. If you don't want this for yourself, it's not going to happen. We will help you out of the hole, but you got to take the steps. If you're not willing to take the steps, you may fall once or twice. I've been there. I've been there plenty of times. But if you're not willing to take the steps, man, we can't take the steps for you. We could guide you. We could give you a crutch once in a while when you fall.
Amen.
But
Well, you know what I like to tell you? Put the hole. What's the first thing you do when you find? What's the first thing you should do when you find yourself in a hole?
Call for help.
Stop digging. Stop
digging.
And start climbing out.
Yes.
But like Julio said, you got to make that first phone call.
Yeah. It's tough. It's heavy. That phone is heavy.
It's deep. It's deep. It's deep. Look, it is not easy being an addict. You're going to find out it's the hardest job you ever had. Take that in. It's the hardest job you ever have. Turn that energy into something positive. We're here for you. Please, feedback to that email, info@serenityfarmsinc.org. If you're in a crisis, you can contact us at 724-228-1206. The beautiful Joy Barnhart will be fielding the phone calls and getting the info to the proper people. And please, whether you're in addiction, whether you have a relative or a friend in addiction, come down to this building, the Landmark Building, 75 East Maiden Street, Wash Paw, and see what we're doing. God bless everyone. Join us again next week for another edition of the Recovery Lab.